So yeah, so we're going to go back to the Pali Canon and look for another tale. There are many stories in this book. It's the first collection of the life of the Buddha and other awakened people at the time that crossed paths with the Buddha. The part of the canon that I'm going to look at this evening is the Therigatha, which is the stories of women who were awakened, and it's in the Pali Canon through poetry. The record of their lives came through poems, and that's part of the Pali Canon. So just to start off, I'd just like you to close your eyes. And just feel yourself seated comfortably on your chair, or sitting on your blocks, or lying on your bed. For the next half an hour, we're going to go somewhere else. So make yourself as comfortable as possible. Connect with your breathing body. Feel the earth beneath you and the sky above you. The grounding of the support of the earth and the spaciousness of the sky above you. So we're traveling to India. We're traveling to the country of great heat, great extremes, lots of sun, the opposite of our small island here. And in that country, at a particular time, at some time when the Buddha was there, we have a gathering. And in the gathering are a group of women sitting in a circle. They're a group of elder bhikkhunis, awakened human beings, and they're sitting in this circle, surrounded by many beings from many realms. And the circle somewhere around is surrounded by this ring of flowers, lotus flowers. The ring, the Vajra wall after that, the ring of fire. And there are many dimensions happening at the same time. But in this circle, these women are meeting together to tell their stories. There's Bada, who went forth from a rich family to find the meaning of life. There is Maha Prajapati, who raised the Buddha, his aunt. There's Kisa Gotami, who came from a poor family. And it's her turn to step forward in the circle and tell her story. And in all these realms, every being is listening. There's a silence that descends as she steps forward to go back to the time when she was 10 years old. So we travel to the same area where Siddhartha, who became the Buddha, was raised. Chieftains, clans, and a caste system. A caste system where you were born in to determine your life, basically. And if you were poor, you were in a caste system that was more or less a system where you're going to be treated very badly. And if you're a woman within that poor system, you're going to even be treated worse than that. So pretty bad. So Kisa Gotami's family, they worked for the clan. They plowed the land. They worked in the houses. And they worked basically all the time, from sunrise to sundown, isn't an exaggeration. And so the family, there was a few girls in it, and matches had to be made when they got to be 16, 15 or 16, to be married to somebody. And it was the basis of economics that they would be able to provide. If they had money, a dowry. If they had no money, there would have to be a good worker. And so it was the basis of Kisa Gotami being a good worker. Her family had no money. She was married to this man in a family that was 100 miles away from where she lived. And at that time in India, in those families, those poor families, they stayed where they were until they died. Once you married, as Kisa Gotami did, she married into a family and your in-laws became your family. So you left your family as a woman when you married into your husband's family. And that was the end. You never, in a lot of cases, saw your family again. So your new family. So for Kisa Gotami, she was looked down on by her in-laws. She couldn't provide any money. Yes, she was a good worker, but all that had to be seen. So they set her to work in the fields and then also in the housekeeping in the house. So she continued her life working from sunrise to sundown. They frowned on her and were not kind to her. But Kisa Gotami had a kind way about her. She always sang as she worked in the fields. She was a happy person. She was very involved in what she was doing and had a lovely, kind heart. She did wish, though, that people in this family liked her a bit better. And she knew they were all waiting for her to get pregnant, to have a child, and particularly a son, which would bring up her status in the family. And so when she was like 16, when she married into the family, her husband was away a lot and didn't really spend much time with her. But anyway, a few years after that, when she was 19, she did become pregnant. And she was so delighted for a lot of reasons. One, she wanted to be a mother. She loved children and she wanted to share her love with this child, girl or boy. She did think, though, it'd be better if I had a boy, my status would improve. So the in-laws started to treat her mother-in-law, or sisters-in-law, brothers-in-law, a little better. Work in the field stopped, so she was working in the house, and baking and singing, just wonderfully happy. And then she gave birth to this beautiful boy, Soma. Wow, was she happy. It was like the birds were singing, the sun was shining, and here she was. Her heart almost felt like it was going to break with the love that she had for this child. And people gave her a little bit more respect. So she felt a bit happier that she was gone from this longing to belonging in this family. So she went singing with her child, and she always carried him around. And then as he got a little bit older, like about 2, she played with him when she got a chance. And they were really close and connected. And then around the time when he was about 4, he got a fever. And he just got a fever, something like a pneumonia or something like that. And Kisa Gotami made up some medicine. She went and picked the herbs outside, made the medicine, put it together, the paste, and made a drink for him, and the fever released. And she kept giving him the medicine, the herbs, and he seemed to be getting better. And she drew like a sigh of relief. Gosh, I was worried about him. Thank goodness he's better. And she called on the gods and the goddesses to help him to get better. So that was okay for a day. The fever broke. But then the fever came in again and took over with the vengeance. And the poor little boy was hot and hot and hot. And she went out to get medicine, and she ran to the Ayurveda healer and got them to come up and said, look, I've given them these herbs, they usually work. And the healer said, yeah, you're doing all the right thing. Keep giving them the drink, and you're putting cold crown presses on them. That's fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing everything you can, Kisa Gotami. And her family were there, but really, she was starting to get worried, very worried, and getting a bit frantic. So she was with Soma, her child, for day and night and day and night. And then one night, the fever continued to grow and grow, and was hotter and hotter. And she was putting the little piece of towel on his forehead, saying, Soma, Soma, get better. My beautiful boy, get better. And then she just sat in her chair. And then she went again to pat him. But she noticed something had changed. And she got her shawl and said, Soma, Soma, wake up. You've fallen asleep. You've fallen asleep. And she put her shawl on her and wrapped Soma in the shawl. And Keen saw her and said, well, oh, you're very sick, Soma. Oh, please wake up, wake up. And her in-laws came in and went, this child is dead. We have to do the burial ritual for the child. Stop that at once, stop it. And Kisa Gotami went, no, my child is okay. My child is sick. My child is sick. Leave me alone with my child. And she picked up the child and she ran down the road, in this old road, to the village. She said, I'm going to get some medicine here. I'm going to get some medicine that's better, that's going to help my poor child. And she went into the village, and the people saw her coming in the square. And they looked at her, and they could see something really tragic was going on. What has happened to Kisa Gotami? And she ran over to this man and she went, please, please give me some medicine for my child. He's really sick. And what I've given him isn't working. He needs something else. And the man looked at the child and said, Kisa Gotami, you need to go to the burial ritual, the fire pyre, with your child. And she went, no, stop saying those things to me. My child is okay. I just need this medicine for my poor child. And she went to a woman, and the woman, she was compassionate and caring, and she put her arms around Kisa Gotami and said, Kisa Gotami, your grief is inconsolable. Rest in it. Give me the child. She went, no, go away. So she wandered in the village and people were looking at her, and some people ran into their houses and closed the door because they thought that she's going mad and she's a lunatic. People were saying she's really off her head. Let's close our doors. And other people said, no, we want to help her. And she just kept wandering around. And then this man who was standing, watching, went over to her and said, Kisa, Gotami, the Buddha is out the road in the deer park. Why don't you go and see him? I'm sure he'll be able to help you. And she went, thank you, thank you. Oh yes, the Blessed One, the Blessed One. I will take my child to the Blessed One and he will give me some medicine for my child. Oh dear. And she started to walk out the road. And it was as if she had a big sack of stones on her back. She was carrying her child. And then she got to the deer park and the Buddha was sitting, resting under a tree, and he watched her as she came. And she knelt down in front of the Buddha and said, oh, the Blessed One is here. Please help me. Please help me. Give me some medicine for my child to make him well again, please. And the Buddha said, yes, Kisa Gotami, sit down. I will give you the medicine. And she went, oh, what a relief. Get medicine to make my child better. He said, but in order to make the medicine, I need you to go back to the village and bring me back a mustard seed from some household where there's been no death. And she went, mustard seed? Oh, everyone has a mustard seed in their kitchen. Yes, I'm going to go that. Yeah. And off she went. She had something to do. And she went with the child and she knocked on the first door she came to. And the woman opened the door and she said, hello, could I have a mustard seed? And the woman went, yes, of course you can. There's plenty of mustard seeds in my kitchen. I'll go and get it for you. And she went off and got it and she gave it to Kisa Gotami and she said, thank you so much. And then she remembered what the Buddha said. He said, oh yeah, has there been any death here? And the woman went, oh, don't remind me. My grandfather just passed away 2 weeks ago. Oh, she says, Kisa Gotami, so thank you anyway. And she walked on. And then she went to another house and asked for a mustard seed. And they went to get the mustard seed. And then she asked, has there been a death here? And men, women, old and young said, sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers, children. There's been death everywhere in all these houses. And at each house, she got the same message. And she started to feel it. Something dropped into her body. She started to feel the weight of her grief in the body. And she began to realize, I cannot get a mustard seed from any household in this village because there's death everywhere. And she realized to be born is to die. And her son was dead. So she went off to the cremation ground and did the rituals for her son and a keening for her beautiful boy, and spent some hours there sitting with the big wound in her heart that felt raw and open, but it had dropped deep into the body so that her hysteria had come embodied, and she felt that grief of loss. And then she walked back to the Buddha was still sitting under the tree, resting. He was waiting for her. And he said, Kisa, Gotami, did you bring me the mustard seed? She said, no. I have the teaching of the mustard seed. There is nowhere I can get a mustard seed from nobody, because death is everywhere. And then she said, I'd like to be a follower of yours. I'd like to be your disciple. I'd like to be ordained. I want to follow your path. And the Buddha said, come, Kisa, Gotami. You're already on the path. So we come back to our circle where we started with the elder nuns, bhikkhunis, sitting together. Kisa Gotami has just finished telling her life story to the other women in this gathering. They've all met to tell their stories. They've heard about each other, but they've never come together in this life storytelling situation. And as each woman is telling their story, the light of the sun just glows and glows and dazzles and dazzles. And the Buddha comes and joins the circle and sits with these women and smiles. And that lovely smile of the Buddha. And the women in the circle, all these elders, these awakened women, they smile like the Buddha. And in the golden circle of connection, of the beauty of the awareness and compassion intrinsically linked in their hearts, they send out this rainbow light to all the realms. And people feel it, animals feel it, beings in the underworld rise up, the dwarfs, all the different sprites and different kinds of beings arrive. They're drawn by the dazzle of unconditional love. They feel it permeate all over them. And the Dakinis dance in the sky, and full moon and crescent moon and sun and rainbow all intertwine. And there is a beauty of the awakened mind connected. And from this land, Danu, the goddess of the Tuatha arrives in the mist, because the Tuatha always arrive from the mist. And they drop this mist in the circle, and the Buddha and the elder nuns feel this beauty of this cool mist and thank Danu from the Tuatha who's come from the island of Eru to pay homage to these fantastic beings and homage to the Buddha. And Kisa Gotami says, to all that are listening, thus may you think of this fleeting world, a star at dawn, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream.